So that's the software development team. We have a team of about 10 editors, and we call them editors, but their principal task is to find good content, license it, create bibliographies, go into archives, find content that's really good. We have about 30 what we call production people that are principally indexers. And what these folk do is they go through content and think of them as, to call them indexers is a bit of a disservice. What they're really doing is going into the content and finding pathways and finding ways to make it much easier to search. So, for example, we've got currently a newsreel database in preparation. We've licensed Japanese newsreels. We've licensed German newsreels. We've licensed British and American newsreels. And the idea is we key in Pearl Harbor, get the Japanese view, the German view, the British view, the American view, and you can get a completely different understanding of the event. But in order to make that happen, somebody's got to go in there and say, aha, so in Japan, the big newsreel on Pearl Harbor was delayed by 2 weeks, and this needs to be tagged Pearl Harbor. And in fact, in the British one, they didn't mention it for a month, so we need to tag that. We have about a quarter of the company is sales. Selling, I think, is a much maligned profession unnecessarily. A lot of the content that we publish isn't obviously great. Our mission statement is to make silent voices heard. And we often find that really phenomenal content, people don't actually understand it when first given it. One of our most successful databases is a letter and diary database. It's letters and diaries of women through time. And a lot of the original potential customers said, we've got lots of letters and diaries. But what they didn't understand was the way we indexed actually enabled you to query the content in a wholly new way. So you could ask a question like, give me all letters sent by women between 1920 and 1930 that mention the word school. And suddenly the letters and diaries actually become social documents in a wholly new light. And being able to get that, it's not just the fact that we've got software developers that make the software or indexers that tag it really nicely so it can be found. You actually need salespeople who are going to be able to explain it to customers. Salespeople also need to do training, and they need to make sure that the users are actually getting a good experience. We've got a little finance team that basically puts the books in order. That's about it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Debbie, thank you.
You'd like me to speak about my place of employment? Okay. I'm the editorial and production manager at Georgetown University Press. We are an academic publisher. We have about 14 staff members, and we use a number of student interns, undergraduates and graduate students at Georgetown. The press has been in existence since actually the 60s. It was an outgrowth of the Department of Languages and Linguistics, and indeed languages and linguistics is still one of the highest priority fields in which we publish. We are also very well known because for the fact that we publish the best-selling Arabic language textbook in the world. It's called Al-Kitab. Is anybody studying Arabic here? Do you know that? You have that. It's a very major part of what the press does and the income that the press has. But we also publish in many other languages. In addition, some of the other fields in which we publish are political science, ethics, religion, and international affairs. Our staff is divided. I oversee the editorial and production departments, so that means that when a manuscript has been acquired and has been developed through that process, it's turned over to me and my one assistant, and we do everything except market the book. We we handle all of the editing, of the design, the indexing, the manufacturing, the cover design, the author contacts. I don't remember what I just said. Indexing, proofreading, everything to make it into a bound book. And then, as I said at the outset, we are also now adding the part of making ebooks, providing files that another staff member can send out for various platforms so that that content is fully available. This is still a learning curve for us. We're very involved in that process. We're very committed to ebooks, e-publishing, digital content. We don't think print's going away entirely, but we certainly understand that we need to use digital publishing as a full partner for content, for offering scholarship. So we are a very small group. We do about 50 books a year, 50 new titles a year. We also do numbers of reprints. Our jobs are getting a little bit more complicated, not only because of the digital aspect, but because languages are very difficult to pull into digital content, particularly right-to-left languages, non-Romance languages. And we seem to be specializing in least commonly taught languages, LCTLs. So we've been publishing books now in Urdu, Tajiki. We're about to do one in Uyghur, Arabic of various dialects. We're also doing Russian, which is not that unusual. And to do that in print format is one thing, but to figure out how to produce these things digitally is turning out to be a very complicated process. So we are very engaged in trying to sort that out, trying to get proper XML files, trying to figure out ways to make this fully accessible, both to learners and libraries and archives and many, many places. The military, the government are all very interested in these languages. They're called strategic languages because they are very central to our foreign policy and to international and to globalization. And so we're very committed to producing these materials. But the day-to-day, how to get this thing really available in digital content is proving to be quite a learning curve for us. So I'll stop there. Next. Okay.
Well, I can certainly echo the learning curve for digital content. So GPO has about 1,900 employees currently. About half of those, or just a little bit over half, are devoted to our plant operations unit. So the men and women running the presses, doing bindery, proofing, that sort of thing, as well as the workflow management of that. And then another third or quarter or so that are working in print procurement, working with our federal agency customers to bring jobs into GPO and then send them out to a variety of private public printers. So we actually have one of the largest public-private partnerships in the government, since we work with pretty much every printer. Sure. Yep. So both from large corporations such as R.R. Donnelley down to the mom and pop store, little print shops. So in addition to the procurement and plant ops units, we have creative services, so sort of our graphic design department. They usually do work for agencies that have content but don't know exactly how they want to put it out. So working graphic design, print design, hosting sites, designing websites, that sort of thing. In addition to that, we have our library unit, which works with about a network of about 1,200 federal depository libraries, including academic libraries such as George Washington, as well as state and local libraries, to provide our print materials, primarily the Congressional Record, Federal Register, but also a variety of other materials selected by our library unit as being of public interest. So providing free permanent public access to official government information is essentially the calling of GPO. So our sort of tagline mission is keeping America informed. So we're trying to figure out a way to do that going from the print world that we've been in, going to the digital. So the thing that I'm actually probably the most involved with is working on FDSys, which is the Federal Digital System. Not necessarily the greatest name in the world, but you have to give us something. So the nice thing about this is that we allow searchable content across all three branches. We actually just started a pilot project with the administrative offices of the U.S. courts to start bringing in opinions from a variety of bankruptcy appeal courts at a number of different levels. So we actually have, I'm trying to remember how many documents we have in the system now, somewhere around 9 million documents that are searchable. So that's sort of the direction we're headed, trying to find ways to make that more relevant to younger people who are less likely to go to the library and more likely to pull out their smartphone. So that's another thing that I'm looking at, is starting our mobile apps program, looking at how we can make our content more accessible. We have the challenge of we don't necessarily have editorial control over our products, but working with both the content originators and Congress, looking at ways that we can continue to make that available in new ways. Because I'm sure, as you know, you've read sort of the Pew Internet Life study saying that, I think it's like 30% of people between 18 and 29 use their mobile devices as their primary form of getting to the internet, and thus primary form of getting to internet information. So finding ways just to continue moving and making it more accessible in those ways. So GPO has a variety of different positions, and beyond just what I mentioned, obviously we have finance, very similar to any government agency. We have large general counsel staff, finance, administration, IT services. There's a lot of, you can pretty much do anything at GPO if you just have to make your way and find something. So.
So you're all familiar with Pearson. I mentioned that we're the leading learning company, and a lot of people typically associate Pearson with textbooks. Like my colleagues up here, we're definitely making the big push towards digital products. We have a number of digital products already in the works, but one of the things we're looking for is to really transition our business so that we're making education affordable, it's accessible, and we're really looking to help students achieve their maximum potential. So I work for our higher education division, but Pearson as a whole is made up of three parts. So we have Pearson, we have the Penguin Group, and the Financial Times. They're all recruited for separately, and they do all act as separate entities, but they all do make up Pearson, with the bulk of our finances coming from the Pearson Educational product. Pearson as a whole has about 37,000 employees, and we're located in 70 different countries. So if you're looking for that global opportunity, we have a number of products, and all of our products are located all around the country. We have a really big push for helping education in countries where we have a really big push, I guess, in helping countries economically that are struggling to help education. We have a big push in Africa right now, a big push in Asia, as well as India, where we're finding a number of electronic, digital products that we're making available. We have a number of teachers who are teaching classes online to our students through online classrooms.